Hello. Hello, good morning. We'll start the class. We'll keep some times, maybe 1 minute. We'll wait for a minute, then we'll start. ठीक है, वहाँ पे करिए. Okay. ଆମେ ପଢୁଥିଲେ different motivation theory. We'll go to that slide that we read in the last class. We studied exercise theory and hygiene theory, motivation theory, hygiene. Then we also studied expectancy theory, equity theory. We also know groups and teams, leadership, what are the different types of leadership, what are the different traits of leadership quality, and different leadership pattern, different leadership model. We discussed all these things. Grid model, RC blanched model, Likert force system model. We studied all these things. Then we'll go to a new topic called communication skill. You know how important is communication skill. How to do anything at your home, at your school, at your job. Communication matters. ତୁମେ ଯାହା କରୁଛ, ଯାହା କୌଣସି ଜାଗାକୁ ଯାଉଛ, ଯାହା ସହିତ କଥାବାର୍ତ୍ତା କରୁଛ, ଯେକୌଣସି କାମ କରୁଛ, ତୁମେ କଣ କମ୍ୟୁନିକେସନ କରୁଛ ତମ କଥାରୁ ଜଣା ପଡିଯିବ. Communication skill is very important. Communication skill କେତେ ପ୍ରକାର. We'll study about that. You go to the next slide. Communication. Communication is the act of giving, receiving, and sharing information. In other words, taking or writing. That means all these are communication skills. And in other words, talking or writing, and listening or reading. Good communicators listens carefully, speaks or write clearly, and respect different opinions. These are all communication, and people who are good communicator, they give space to others. They listen everything. They listen the summary gist line by line. They talk clearly. So you'll understand what are the main aspect of communication and why this is important, what are the things you need to improve your communication skill. There are five types of communication skill. Verbal communication, when you talk each other, when you speak each other, that is verbal. ମାନେ କହୁଛ କଥାବାର୍ତ୍ତା କରୁଛ, that is called verbal communication. Non-verbal communication, we do not talk, but something is coming from your face. You express a different. As a non-verbal communication, you do not stop. Suppose you are confused. That means you are in sad. You are communicating something. So looking at your face, I can understand you are communicating something. Suppose you are in good mood. That is not verbal communication, no verbal communication, but you are saying something, something I can understand. Written communication, ତମେ ଯୋଉ ଲେଖୁଛ, ତମେ ଯାହା ଗୋଟେ ଚିଠି ଲେଖିଲ କିମ୍ବା ଗୋଟେ ଆର୍ଟିକଲ ଲେଖିଲ କିମ୍ବା ଗୋଟେ ପ୍ରୋଜେକ୍ଟ ଲେଖିଲ, what you think you are expressing through writing. That is written communication. Listening communication, ତମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଗୋଟେ ଶୁଣୁଛ, କଣ ଶୁଣୁଛ, କେମିତି ଶୁଣୁଛ, ଯୋଉ ଭାଷଣ ଶୁଣୁଛ, ଗୋଟେ ନ୍ୟୁଜ ଶୁଣୁଛ, ସପୋଜ 10 minutes ପାଇଁ ତମେ ଶୁଣିଲ, ତାପରେ ତମେ ନ୍ୟୁଜ ରୁ କଣ ଜାଣିଲ, କଣ ସମରି ତାର, that is listening communication. Visual communication. Visual communication is more or less related to graphics. ଚିତ୍ର, ତମେ ରାସ୍ତାରେ ଗଲାବେଳେ ଦେଖୁଥିବ ସବୁ ସାଇନ୍, different signals. These are visual communication. Looking a board, you can understand. Suppose ତମ ଫୋନରେ କୋଉଟା କଲ୍ ରିସିଭ୍ କରିବ, କୋଉଟା କାଟିବ, କୋଉଟା ହୋଲ୍ଡ କରିବ, so these are symbols. Nothing written there. You have to press this one to receive call. So you understand by looking at the symbols in the computer. So ସବୁ symbol ଅଛି, ତମେ MS Word ରେ type କରୁଛ, କୋଉଟା left align, କୋଉଟା right align, କୋଉଟା center align. You have some symbols. Looking at the symbols, you can understand what it is. That is visual communication. So there are five types of communication: verbal, non-verbal, written, listening, visual. This you remember what are the different types of communication and what is communication. In this slide, we have this. Next is what is communication concept. Then ତମେ ଗୋଟେ କଥା କହୁଛ, you are telling someone something to someone, that you are the sender and you are telling that is it. What you tell is a message, and who is getting the words, that person is receiver. So you are sending one message to the receiver. Sender is sending one message to the receiver. That is communication. You are telling something and someone is receiving something. If someone is giving feedback, suppose ମୁଁ ତମ କ୍ଲାସ୍ ନଉଛି, ତମେ yes କି no କି ବୁଝିବ କି କଣ କରିବ, ତମେ କହିଲେ, that is feedback. ଯଦି ଯଦି କିଛି ନାହିଁ, ତମର feedback ଅଛି, then I am talking only, you are listening. That is one way communication. Two-way communication, when you are interacting, you are talking, you are asking something, that means communication is flowing from my side and also flowing from your side. That is two-way communication. This slide is the difference between one-way and two-way. One-way communication is without feedback, only one direction. It's going from the receiver, sender, and receiving the message from the receiver. That is one direction. Two-way communication is when you are getting the feedback. When the sender is sending the message and receiver is getting the message, receiver is confirming, okay, I'm getting the message, then giving the feedback. The best example is what you have right now. The class, if you are talking, if you are giving feedback, input from the teacher, then you confirm that I am receiving and I am getting something, then the feedback is received by the sender. That is two-way. Always include feedback from receiver to the senders and let the sender know the message has been received accurately. That is two-way. I'm reading that. In two-way communication, communication is negotiated both sender and receiver. Listen to each other, gather information, and are willing to make changes to work together in harmony. Their intent is to negotiate a mutually satisfactory situation. That means when you are sending a message to the receiver, receiver is sending back or confirming that I received the message with feedback or any means in a different communication style. ତମେ ଜଣଙ୍କୁ ଚିଠି ଲେଖିଲା ଚିଠିର ଉତ୍ତର ଦେଲା, then it is a two-way communication. ଯଦି ଉତ୍ତର ଦେଲାନି, then it is one-way communication. So you have different types, two-way, one-way. One-way is a linear. Sometimes one-way communication is called linear communication. Linear and limited because it occurs in straight line from sender to receiver and ours to inform or straight and come. ତମର କିଛି expect करना receiver to. You are only sending something, some instruction. Then one-way communication is recommended. There is no need of two-way communication. You are only sending the instruction to the receiver. Then what is the process of communication? There are some points written here. Senders, message, encoding, media, decoding, receiving, feedback, noise. So you see there is a diagram in the left hand side. We have all points written here. So communication goes from sender to receiver. This is the form. Sender, message, encoding, media, decoding, receiver, feedback, noise. Sender who is sending the communication. Message means what you are sending. It could be writing. What is the content? That is message. Encoding. Encoding is a technique where you change your text. Suppose તમે જો encoding ଗୋଟେ example તમે જો email login કરছো password દଉଛ ସବୁବେଳେ ତମ password ହେଲା ତମର KIMT ତମେ password enter કરଛ system is taking KIMT but system is actually opening your inbox through server. So in that, in between when you are entering and in between the server, your password is encoded. It is giving some code word or maybe KIMD is 4 letter. It is converted to 16 letter or 20 letter based on the encoding logic and sending it to the server. In between, if someone is hacking, they will get the 16. They do not know what is the logic behind it. That is encoding. When the server is receiving that 16 letter, it is again converting to the same logic. Then the server is getting AIMT. That is decoding. So encoding, decoding, you understood. Whatever you are giving the secret code, secret password, or PIN, ATM, PIN. So it is converting to a different code language, different message based on the algorithm. Then the server is actually checking and decoding it to receive the original text. That is encoding and decoding. The message generated by the sender is encoded symbolically, such as in the form of word, picture, etc., etc., between conveyed. See, this is encoding. The message is actually converted into, it could be a text of pictures or words or gesture or whatever. It could be based on the algorithm. So these things will change. And then the same thing if you convert to the original text, that is called decoding. So that is the main process of communication. That is one process of communication. Decoding. Media channel, how you are communicating. In our case, now we are doing class. The Zoom is the channel. Like that, how we are doing. Whether letter, paper, or for communicating through loudspeaker or online meeting, computer. So that is the media channel. Receiver means who is receiving your text. Feedback, whoever receiving, they are confirming that they have received something. That is the feedback. Noise, anything is created, anything is unwanted sound, unwanted message. Suppose you and me are talking in between something, someone will talk, which is not relevant to me, not relevant to you. That is not, which is not relevant to communication. It refers to any abstraction. It could be anything. If it is not relevant, that is noise. Not relevant to the context of the meeting, is noise. It refers to any abstraction that is caused by this or receiver in the process of communication. That is noise when you are creating something, when you are talking something. So ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ କଥା ହଉଛନ୍ତି ଯଦି କିଛି ବ୍ୟାକଗ୍ରାଉଣ୍ଡ ନଏଜ୍ ଆସୁଛି, ବ୍ୟାକଗ୍ରାଉଣ୍ଡ ମୁଁ କଲ୍ କରୁଛି, something we are receiving background noise and you mute yourself. That means what? Some noise is created which is not related to the context, not related to the communication channel, communication media. So those noise may be background discussion, sounds, it could be anything, or the mechanical problem. But this is the process of communication. First you will send it, and for sender you will have a message. The message is encoded and decoded, and you are using a channel, using a media, and through that media the receiver is receiving, the receiver who is receiving your communication, and sender is sending the communication. Then you have a feedback mechanism, and in between you may have noise. This is actually the process behind communication. So if communication is happening, you have all this process, all this entity in place. General communication can be broadly classified into Formal and informal communication. Formal communication are those that are official and that are part of recognized communication system. It's involved in uh, cooperation and the organization. Informal communication grows out of social interaction among people who work together. Right. So there are in organization you have seen there are two types of words, formal and informal. Formal is like official communication, like official letter, email. Informal communication is something you talk informal, like WhatsApp. Suppose you are talking something is not related to your formal. So because you're organizing is formalized WhatsApp, then WhatsApp is one formal communication. So informal communication which is not recognized or you do a lot of communication offline through different social media, talk to people. Suppose you are taking a break and going and having tea, having cigarette with so many people, and you are talking a lot of things. The informal communication. This is not related to your formal communication. So that is there are two types of communication mostly divided into from the organization communication point of view. There are two types of ones, formal and informal. Direction communication can flow from top to bottom, but left to right, right to left. That means in the org structure, in the organization structure, if the top management is the top level, they are talking to the bottom level, the subordinate, then the communication is flowing from top to bottom. If subordinate is talking to the top, the communication is flowing from bottom to top. Similarly, horizontal and vertical within the department. If the communication is actually flowing from the from the employee's co-worker, that is known as horizontal. Similarly, it's all in same hierarchy. Communication can go in that way. What are the barriers of communication? Barriers means what actually stopping or creating problem for the communication. Semantic barriers. Semantic barriers are known as language barriers. Sometimes known as suppose you know Hindi, you are talking to a person who doesn't know Hindi. That is a semantic barrier. Psychological barriers. Suppose you are distant psychologically. You are not in a good mood to say something. You are very sad. Someone is sick at your home, or there is bad news at your home. So you are psychologically unstable. You cannot give a good news in that. Organizational barrier are those barriers that are caused due to the structure, rules, and regulations. So in some organization, there are some rules, there are some protocols. You cannot talk to the top management. That is a organizational barrier. Cultural barrier. Cultural barrier are those that arise due to lack of similarities among different cultures. There is a lot of difference between South India and North India. Suppose one person from North talking to South. So there are some difference. So we talk in some language and they talk in some language. We have something in our culture they do not have. They have something in their culture. That is a cultural barrier. Physical barrier. Physical barrier is when the technical problem arises. Physical failure to communicate are those that arises due to certain factors like actually equipment, noise, suppose Zoom କାମ କଲାନି, internet କାମ କରୁନି. There is a technical barrier. Physiological barrier. Physiological is something who has a problem in the sense like suppose someone is not able to talk, one is not able to walk. There could be some disease, there could be some disorder issue, nerve disorder issue. So that kind of problem is physiological barrier. So these are the barrier can happen in the communication. Semantic barriers, psychological barriers, organizational barriers, cultural barriers, physical barriers, physiological barriers. This could be the hindrances or problems in communication when you are doing a lot of things. So, what is the problem you can face in communication? So, these points you remember, then we understand how you can improve this communication. Way to improve communication skills. So, if you want to listen, improve your listening skill, you have to listen a lot. କେତେ ଜଣଙ୍କୁ ଦେଖିଛ ତମେ ସପୋଜ ମୁଁ କଥା କହୁଛି ତମେ ଅନ୍ୟ ଜଣଙ୍କ ସହିତ କଥାବାର୍ତ୍ତା କରିବାକୁ ଚାହୁଁଛ ତମେ ଉପର ପଡ଼ିକି କହିଦବ ୟୁ ଡୋଣ୍ଟ ଗିଭ୍ ସ୍ପେସ୍ ପ୍ରଥମେ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଯିଏ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ତାଙ୍କୁ ଶୁଣିବ ସେ କଣ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ବୁଝିବ ଦେନ୍ ୟୁ ପୁଟ୍ ୟୁର ପଏଣ୍ଟ ଟୁଗେଦର ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ଶୁଣିବାର ଧୈର୍ଯ୍ୟ ଥିବା ଦରକାର ଲିସନ 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 ପିପୁଲ ୱାଣ୍ଟ ଟୁ ନୋ ହ୍ୱାଟ ଦେ ବ୍ରିଙ୍ଗ ହାର୍ଟ ତମେ ଯଦି ଶୁଣିବାର ଧୈର୍ଯ୍ୟ ନାହିଁ then you cannot talk to them. Suppose ତାଙ୍କ ଜଣେ କଥା କହୁଛି you have to listen and you have to find the gist what he has done. Another thing is ତମେ କାହା ସାଙ୍ଗରେ କଥା କହୁଛ ଇଏ ତମେ ଯୋଉ କମ୍ୟୁନିକେଟ କରୁଛ ଅଡିଏନ୍ସ କିଏ ତମେ ସିନିୟର କି ଜୁନିୟର କି ପିଲା ସେ ଅନୁସାରେ ତମେ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଗ୍ରିଟ କରିବ ସେ ଅନୁସାରେ ତମେ ତାଙ୍କୁ କଥାବାର୍ତ୍ତା କରିବ ସିନିୟର ସିଟିଜେନକୁ ମୁଁ ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ କହୁଛି ଯୋଉମାନେ କି 70 years ଉପରେ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଯୋଉ ଭଳିଆ କହିବ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ବିଶେଷ ମୁଁ କହୁଥିବି ଯୋଉମାନେ କି 15 years ତଳେ ହେବେ these are the different content different audience so my communication style skills will differ body language means ତମେ କେମିତି acting କରୁଛ କେମିତି ଅଭିନୟ କରୁଛ ତମର body language କଣ check your message before you send it ତମେ ଲେଟର ଲେଖୁଛ କି ଇମେଲ କରୁଛ କଣ ଲେଖିବାକୁ you have to read it thoroughly don't send in a hurry suppose you are writing something and you are giving send but immediately then maybe if there is a mistake you cannot find it out so you have to read it thoroughly before you send be prepared specific ଯାହା ତମେ କରିବାକୁ ଚାହୁଁଛ ସେତିକି ଦିଅ unnecessary ଅଲଗା ଜିନିଷ ଲେଖନି briefly ଲେଖ write things down suppose you are sending something you are then you could write you could do some basic research seriously what are the points and you should do some homework prepare sometimes it's better sometimes it's better to pick up the phone ବେଳେବେଳେ କଥାବାର୍ତ୍ତା କଲେ ବହୁତ ଶୀଘ୍ର ହେଇଯାଏ ଜିନିଷ ତମେ ଚାଟ୍ କରୁଛ ଜଣ ସପୋଜ ତମେ ମତେ ଗୋଟେ କମ୍ୟୁନିକେଟ କରିବାକୁ ଚାହୁଁଛ ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷ you are talking and chatting but you know if you talk It may happen in 1 minute, chat happen in 5 minutes. So better to talk. So you know better what kind of issues you are communicating. Think before you speak. Then that में जहाँ କଥା बोलते हो तुम्हें तो articulate करो. Before you speak, you have to articulate the things. You have to say what you are thinking, what you are saying. You are thinking. Treat everyone equally. Do not talk down to anyone. Treating everyone with respect. Treat others as your equal. ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ସମାନ ଦେଖ. Don't partiality. Don't apply partiality. Oh, this is bad. And it's better than this person. So everyone is same in one in your eye. Maintain a positive attitude and smile. So when you are talking to something, you have to in your attitude and smiles. You have to be positive. That means once you are talking or improving your communication skill, if you are very positive, if your intention is good, that means you will do better in communication. That is one improvement. If you are very negative, you think तुम्हें communication skill improve करले कौन हवा? If you improving your communication skill and if you are not improving your communication skill, depends on your attitude and your positiveness. What do you think? So these are the ways where you can improve your communication skill. There are many ways where you can practice. You need to understand the audience. You need to read it thoroughly. You have to prepare. So these are the main points you can write. Prepare, do the homework, think, treat ironically, be positive. You may remember some keywords and you can answer this. Listen a lot like that. Okay, we'll go to the next skill in some maybe next class tomorrow is Sunday. Day after tomorrow, if I don't have any class, I'll take otherwise look at the what we'll have next class. Then we'll go through some new skill. Thank you.